Welcome back to Beer Fueled Fantasy Football, part 7 of 8. Last two division previews we got on the docket for you this week. It is Monday, the 25th of June. I'm Nick Sparts. We've got Chris Hopper to my left, also rocking a Jaguars jersey for the next episode.
I was really confused because I'm like, no, it's not. It's Sunday the 24th, but I forgot we're in the future. What's up, guys? At Hot BFF with 2 Ps. Joined to my left by Dan Thury, fresh back from Minnesota.
At Thury BFF, I'm completely like jet lagged through travel.
Even though you didn't leave the time zone.
Even though I didn't leave the time zone or anything like that.
I'm right there with you. I also just got back in the last couple hours here, so we had to record this late on Sunday night, which we normally do not do. So apologies for all that. Joining us on the phone is Brandon Hamer at Double H Fantasy 1 from Happy Hour Fantasy. How are you doing, Brandon?
What's going on, fellas? Thanks for having me.
And I believe we have you on your first ever podcast. Is that correct?
That's right, popping the cherry.
This is not the first cherry I popped.
We are fans. We are fans of virgins here, so we're good.
And we're off to a roaring start.
All right, we're doing good.
It's Sunday.
I thought energy would be a problem, but apparently not.
I think it's going to be more slap happy than energy.
Those are the best episodes, and then we get slap happy and drunk for the Wednesday episode. That's going to be even better.
Great
right,
content
so
for our listeners.
Look forward to the AFC South when we get Dean Williams on for Wednesday. But let's go ahead and jump into a beer preview before we have some very topical news for you guys. So located in central Illinois, finding beers for the NFC South proved a little difficult. So we got something that is brewed both in Portland, Maine and Orlando, Florida. So close-ish to Tampa.
It works. Not really, but kind of.
It's the same state. It counts.
Yeah, close enough.
Close enough.
We have Sea Dog Wild Blueberry on. This is the first time we've had Sea Dog on the show. As I mentioned, they're brewed in Portland, Maine, and Orlando, Florida. It's a lager with blueberry flavoring, clocks in at 4.6%. We'll get a full review for that after we get through the Saints and the Falcons. And we got one piece of news for you guys that is on point.
News.
The suspensions just keep rolling, and this time they land it
Nothing.
just in time for our NFC South episode. Jameis Winston has been suspended the first 3 games of the 2018 season. He is not appealing. Brandon, as the Buccaneers fan on the show here, go ahead and give us your thoughts first.
Well, first of all, disappointed. But, I mean, I had Jameis actually higher than most people did. I had him creeping into the top 10.
Us too.
So, I mean,
you're not alone.
All right, good. Glad to hear that. But, I mean, I'm a big wait on a quarterback guy. So, it pushes him down even further. So, as long as you get a guy that's a pretty easy slate first 3 games, I'm still all aboard the Jameis train. Because, I mean, you can just get him so cheap and he's still going to put out big numbers.
My thought on this is this probably bumps him down to undrafted. He was already almost going undrafted for whatever reason. I mean, he was the QB1 after he came back from injury last year. So to me, this is a guy that you draft somebody. If you have an injury, you have a quarterback problem that's not working out, you get somebody that you're not so sure on. He's somebody I'm picking up on waivers in week 2.
Yeah,
I'm not even waiting until week 3 when everybody wants to pick him up on waivers. I'm getting him early.
I'm letting someone draft him and then drop him when they need somebody week 1. And as Hopper said, just pick him up in week 2. I know Bortles is a pretty happy name to be thrown out the first few weeks. He's got a pretty soft schedule to start. But yeah, I'm not drafting Winston at all.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna draft him. I'll wait. Just find somebody who doesn't work out the first couple of weeks, turn him off, and pick up Winston then.
Yep. That's my advice.
Basically, use it as an extra roster spot to grab the quarterback I want later.
Yep.
All right, that's the only news we got. Let's go ahead and jump into the division preview of the NFC South.
Division preview.
All right. So the top 3 was really a dogfight on this one. When I went through and got everything calculated, the Saints came in first, Falcons second, and the Panthers third, though it was real close between those 3 teams. Buccaneers are coming in last, and I don't think this Winston news helped because I actually did my numbers before Winston.
Yeah, that was pretty consistent.
Not surprising.
Mine was after Winston, but still, it was just hard for me to. Even though I like them, I think that defense, and I love the offense, I think that defense is still too far off.
Yeah, it's going to have some growing pains, especially to start the year. So we will kick it off with the Saints. They were top 15 in quarterback, running back, and wide receiver points last season. Tight end last, 32nd, Kobe Fleener. And
Well done,
Somehow I'm not
Kobe.
shocked by this.
was not able to do much. So let's kick it off at the top of the depth chart. We got Drew Brees coming back, lowest attempts and lowest yards that he had in almost a decade last season. Do we see him regressing back to normal Drew Brees this year, or is this the new normal?
No, this is the new normal, as I tweeted out the other day. So as Nick alluded to, fewest pass attempts since 2005 with San Diego. Fewest interceptions since 2004 with San Diego. That's a good thing. Lowest TD rate since 2007. He did have his highest completion percent of his career. Yards per completion is right in line with his career numbers, so he's not regressing as a player, but the philosophy here has shifted to run and defense first. That's going to continue, and I think you get more of what you got last year, which means that he's still a top 10 quarterback, but he's not in that elite tier like he had been, and that's because he's not going to throw the ball 650 times.
I'm actually the opposite here. I think he will regress back to what he was. So on average, when he played for the Saints, his average is 4,900 yards, 34 touchdowns, and 15 picks. That average would put him as a QB2 in last year's number. Now, I'm with you guys. I don't think he's going to throw 4,900 yards or 34 touchdowns. But those picks are going to be lower. A lot of those bigger play runs that maybe don't happen. He throws more, throws less. Like we always talk about some players having high touchdown totals regressing back to their mean. Brees threw what? 11 touchdowns less than he normally does with the Saints.
Yeah, but he threw 100 attempts less than he normally does too.
But also thought that the
defense.
But also thought that the defense played out of their mind. They may even regress a bit. They're playing against a lot tougher competition. This NFC South has got all great offenses in there. I think Brees at least posts his positive touchdown regression.
I'm the opposite. I expect it to be more the same as what you got last year.
Brandon?
I mean, I got him, I'd probably say in the 5 to 7 range. I mean, my 4 quarterbacks are Rodgers, Russ, Cam Brady. I think they're locked in. So I got him as high as 5, maybe low to 7, around like Cousins, Watson, Wentz, all them guys. I mean, like I said earlier with Jameis, it's a great year to wait on quarterback because there's just so many great options this year. I mean, unless you're just a religious early quarterback drafter, I'm all for waiting.
Yeah, I'm kind of splitting the difference between you two. I have him projected to go up to about 575 attempts this year, so not back to his historical norm, but up from last year.
I've got him at 560, so you're not that far off from me. I projected it 560 for right around 4,500 yards, 28 touchdowns, 10 picks.
Yeah, his norm is 624 on average.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any way he returns
I don't think there
to
will
that.
be
Not
either.
going to happen.
I just think with more, like he'll just throw more. I just think
So
I think he'll have an extra probably 2 attempts a game over what he had last year. He was 15th in points per game last year. I've got him as my QB8 because I think he's very safe. And I think he should be probably a point or 2 better, which would dump him back up into the top 10 or 12 this year.
He's still a top 10 quarterback. I just think that he
Easy.
falls to that next tier. He's not in the elite tier like he had been.
All right. Let's jump to the running backs. Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram to start us off. How early is Alvin Kamara going for you guys, considering the suspension to Mark Ingram?
right now he's 106 in ADP.
Yeah. And
Little early.
He should be right around the back end of that first round for me. Now, I want to highlight what he did last season, though, first. 120 rushes, it's 6.1 yards per attempt, 100 targets, 81 receptions, 10.2 yards per reception. Here's how rare that is and why I don't think it's going to repeat. Guys that have 110 plus carries at over 6 yards an attempt, Jamal Charles in 2010, Adrian Peterson in 2012, Barry Sanders in 1997, and CJ Spiller in 2012. That's it. Nobody's done it twice in the last 20 years. That's it. 75 plus receptions at over 10.2 yards a reception, or equal to, rather. Marshall Faulk did it 3 times. Other than that, Le'Veon Bell in 2014, something named Charlie Garner in 1999, and David Johnson in 2016. Guys that have done both of those things, him, and only him in the last 20 years. To me, that says there's going to be regression. You don't just have that rare of a season and repeat it.
And do it on his 38.3% opportunity share. Like,
Right. He's
massive efficiency all across the board.
So, but on the flip side, he's going to have 4 games without Ingram here. he's going to probably see his touches go up to closer to 250, 260.
He is. And he's a top 10 running back for me. I'm just saying that you can't expect the same efficiency, but like you said, he's going to have his touches go up. So, and I've got him right at 255 actually, between receptions and rushes. So I've got him at 255 touches. So I think he's still going to be efficient. He's running behind a good offensive line with a good defense with a team that's going to try to run. I think that when Mark Ingram comes back after the suspension, that he doesn't get the same share he was getting. I don't think he's relegated to nothing, but okay. I think Kamara still takes more of a share.
So back to the original question, where are you taking him? Like, which pick?
Probably 109, 110.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Brandon?
He's my RB7.
Yeah, he's also
I agree with that, the 109. I mean, I probably got him around 6. Dude, Scott Barrett from PFF put it perfectly to kind of sum up Kamara. He said, 1 carry usually equals 0.585 expected fantasy points. 1 target equals 1.572 expected fantasy points. So, I mean, he's going to get a heavy dosage of both touches and targets, especially with Ingram. And I agree with what you guys just said. You know, with Ingram being out them games, I think Kamara's going to do very well and probably just take the lion's share of all the touches at that point. And like you said, Ingram's not going to get relegated to nothing, but I think it's definitely going to be Kamara's backfield. So, I mean, I can see him touching 75 receptions easy, I think. Probably 700 yards rushing. I mean, 700 receiving, 800 rushing. Definitely over 10 touchdowns.
So I've got him at 964 rushing, 73 receptions for 712 yards receiving, and 15 total touchdowns.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
So
that's a big.
That's
like an RB2-3 year.
No, it's not.
Like top 2 or 3.
Yeah, that's like top 2-3. That's what I meant.
Especially PPR.
Yeah.
No, that's gonna put him in half PPR, probably at 6 for me.
Okay. Well, Mark Ingram comes in. He was 7th in points per game last year at 17.8. Now he's being drafted in the 5th round due to his 4-game suspension. Is the 501 ADP a good value for Ingram with the suspension, or do you think that's still too high?
It's too high. 4-game suspension. He had a career high in carries last year at 230. Also a career high in targets. He was fine as far as his efficiency goes. 15th in yards created, 18th in evaded tackles, 43rd in juke rate. But I just think that Kamara shows enough to where it's going to be hard when Ingram comes back to take carries from him. So I think that he loses some of that share that he had last year. I don't think he's worth nothing, but 5th round to me is still probably about a round early.
I mean, you got, Terrence Swift and Jonathan Williams. What if one of them blew up the first 4 weeks? What's to say Sean Payton, who's historically not really like Mark Ingram that much? For whatever reason, Ingram just can't seem to get out of his doghouse.
I forgot about that, but that's very true. Mark Ingram had sex with Sean Payton's wife.
Apparently. Allegedly.
Yes.
So, I mean,
that wasn't a rumor we started or anything.
It's not just Mark Ingram's talent. It's if one of these backups actually looks good, they may actually take some of his workload when he comes back.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't see him getting nothing, but I still think that it's too high.
So many touches do you project him for?
5's too early for me.
For Ingram? Hold on.
So I had him at 180 given the 4-game suspension. But considering he's missing 5 of the first 6 games with the bye week as well, I would not take him at 501. He needs to at least.
When is
your
bye week? Week 5?
Week 6.
Yeah. Week 6.
So he's back for 1 week, and then he's on bye.
What did you have him projected at touch-wise?
180.
I got him more than that. I got him at 235, but I got this team rushing more.
It depends how much they.
So, no, and that's exactly what I have. I've got him projected to rush, 470 times and not throw as much because I expect that defense to still be good, and that's right in line with what they did last year.
Makes sense.
All right. Is there a name you guys are going to make a dart throw on for the first 4 weeks?
I wanted to say Jonathan Williams, but then they brought in Terrence West. So, I mean, Jonathan Williams didn't look great in OTAs, at least not enough for them to feel comfortable. And they brought in Terrence West. I mean,
let's put it this way.
Who the fuck knows?
Let's put it this way. I'm going to watch preseason. Right. And I'm going to see which one of those 2 flashes in preseason, and then I'm going to ride with them.
Yes, that's the safe answer, but not the fun answer.
I actually do like Williams a little better than T. West, though. I mean, I was a big Williams fan when he was in Buffalo. So
yeah, we were all over him. Williams last year, and we got burned when he got cut.
No, I'm with Williams on this one too. I'm leaning in that direction.
Yeah, I'd rather.
I've changed to West, but it's a lean because They brought him in for a reason.
Yeah.
All right, on to the receiving game. Michael Thomas was 7th in points per game last year. I currently have him as my wide receiver 4, going 203 in ADP. Is that a good value for Michael Thomas?
It is a good value for him. He's actually more efficient with other wide receiver options on the field. You look back at 2016 versus 2017, 4/10 more of a yard per reception, 4 more touchdowns, 4/10 more receptions per game, plus 6.2% on his catch rate because he wasn't getting all of the coverage. He had 149 targets last year. Other wide receivers had 137, so he literally out-targeted anything else the Saints had at wide receiver combined. I think with Smith and Meredith, that falls back a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, just because it's going to be more spread out. But that's not enough to bump me off of Michael Thomas in the early second round, because I still think he's in the second tier of wide receivers.
Well, no, he should see some massive positive touchdown regression. He had 5 on 149 targets in 17 versus 9 on 92.
And this just like fits to what I think Breeze will do next year. He had what? He dropped 3 or 4 touchdowns in one game in the end zone.
Yeah.
So I mean, like you catch 2-3 of those, and it changes everything.
He was 5th in yards after catch, 13th in red zone receptions, 7th in yards per pass route, 12th in contested catch rate. He's great, and he's going to get better with Cam Meredith and Traquan Smith and Ted Ginn taking coverage off of him.
And Ben Watson should be more effective than
Kobe
Fleener was.
Absolutely. So even though I expect him to see less targets, I expect the efficiency makes up for it and keeps it level.
Yeah, I expect his catch rate and touchdown rate to go up.
Brandon?
Yeah, I got him around 4 or 5. It's really between him and Keenan, switching them back and forth. I got them around 4 or 5. But I mean, he's safe. He's most likely going to play all 16 games, as opposed to a guy like Keenan Allen, who always has that injury risk. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I mean, lock for 100 receptions, I think, and at least over 1,200 yards, over 9 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think he'll be closer to the 8-9 range this year for touchdowns as opposed to 5 like he was last year.
I think I had him at 9 exactly. I've got him, Keenan Allen, and Mike Evans all in the same tier, within 5-6 points of each other.
Yep.
All right. Cam Meredith, Ted Ginn, and Traquan Smith.
Here we go.
Who's your favorite of these 3 to throw a dart on?
Cameron Meredith.
Same here.
Yep, Cam Meredith 1, Smith 2, Ginn 3 for me.
Yep, that's exactly how it is. Ted Ginn, 4.6 targets a game as a wide receiver 2 last year. That's going to fall. There's just more mouths to feed. He had his highest catch rate of his career by 20 points last season. Ted Ginn did.
It was insane.
3rd in yards per target as a field stretcher, 8th in catchable targets. Only 2 versus 7 the previous year. I don't know what that note means. Anyway, but Willie Snead saw 104 targets in 2016 playing a similar slot role. I don't think Cam Meredith sees that, but he did have a 68% catch rate, catching passes from guys named Jay Cutler, Matt Barkley, and Brian Hoyer. So I think even seeing about 85 targets or so, that Cam Meredith is pretty decent value in the later rounds of the draft.
Yeah, 85 targets should get him into wide receiver 4 conversation as kind of a borderline flex play most weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I got him receiver 4.
Meredith can stay healthy. I think he'll fit that slot role very well.
Yeah. And he never had injury issues before he tore an ACL. So it's not like he had a bunch of soft tissue strains and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
His agility and burst score are insane. He's a fantastic route runner. He's going to fit in really well in the slot that they decided to use him.
Yeah. If we start seeing him in training camp and we see him fully comfortable running routes and stuff, he'll start moving up my board for sure. I'm just being a little cautious at the moment.
He did tear it in preseason, so he's had plenty of time to recover.
Timeline wise, he should be fine. It was reported to be a worse than normal ACL tear, though.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like all ACL tears are bad. I don't know what worse than normal ACL tear means.
Well, I think he
probably tore more ligaments with it.
he tore MCL too. I know.
Okay.
He had a Teddy injury?
No, it wasn't a
not quite that bad.
Not quite that bad?
No, it wasn't a full dislocation.
He didn't Zach Miller himself.
And then lastly, we've got Mafia Man himself, Ben Watson. So before we get into stats for him, how is he going to take care of the other State's tight ends this year?
We can't talk about that in the air, Nick.
Josh Hill, I mean, what other tight ends does he have to take care of? It's pretty clear that he's the guy. It's not like a Baltimore situation where he's going to break kneecaps to get on the field.
All right. So what do you guys project for Ben Watson this year?
He had 62 targets last year. He had 110 his last day in New Orleans. He doesn't touch that. Where do I have him? Somebody else. Oh, never mind. He's right in front of my face. I've got him at 74 targets, 48 receptions, 519 and 5. So he should come in the back end of that TE1 conversation.
Okay, so he's kind of that
Yeah.
11 to 15 range.
Yeah. I mean, the Saints last year. What's that?
I got him a little lower than that. I got him like around 20. I got him sub 500, sub 50 catches, sub 5 touchdowns. All that. I'm not too intrigued by him.
My intrigue with him is the fact that the Saints have always wanted to use the tight end. They used it with Graham. They wanted to use it with Fleener his first year and then couldn't. Then last year they went away from it because I don't think Drew Brees trusted Kobe Fleener.
And he was hurt.
And Ben Watson's the guy that has rapport with Drew Brees. Like I said, he had that 110 target breakout season with them. He's going back into an offense that he's familiar with. He saw 62 targets last year in Baltimore when the tight end position wasn't necessarily clear. So I think that being back in New Orleans where it's familiar, I mean, I think that helps him. They had 54 tight end targets last year, and I think they go back towards a little bit more of that, even though Drew Brees isn't throwing it 60,000 times.
He'll be a good streamer.
Yeah, and he's currently
my
free.
15. He's my 15. And he'll go free. I think maybe someone might take a stab in the dark in him in some leagues, but he's relatively going to be cheap.
All right.
Oh, yeah, definitely cheap.
He'll be cheap for sure. I think he's a great later round pickup.
Yep.
All right. Well, that wraps up the Saints, unless we have anything else to add on them.
No, let's go to the Falcons.
Let's hit up the Falcons. Matt Ryan had very much a down year last year. He's 22nd in points per game. Where do you guys have him going? He's currently going 9-11 in ADP, though, 11th quarterback off the board.
It's probably, it's about fair. I think he's a streamer towards a back end QB1. He did have his fewest attempts since 2009. Byproduct of a competent defense, mostly. Fewest touchdowns since his rookie year. TD rate is 8.8 points below his career number because Steve Sarkisian sucks at his job.
Yes, Steve Sarkisian is a bum. I hate that guy.
I do too. He's the fucking worst.
He's literally the worst.
He has no clue what to do.
Nope.
No clue how to utilize his weapons. Dude's a bum.
He regressed as we called for, but
even more than
he regressed too much.
He threw 20 touchdowns last year.
Yeah. Completion percent
Insane.
was his lowest since Dan Quinn took over as head coach. 6 seasons. So to me, that says he's going to come back up some towards the back end QB1 range. One thing that surprised me about him, though, looking at his number, he's got 6 seasons of over 100 rush yards or more, which is not something I'd expect from him. But no rushing touchdowns in the last.
Fun fact with Hopper.
Yeah,
Matt Ryan.
I meant to put no rushing touchdowns in the last 5 years. I accidentally typed 45 years. So he has had a rushing touchdown in the last 45 years, but not the last 5 years.
So, I mean, I don't project him to actually come up a ton, though, because if you take out his MVP season, his average season was only 328 fantasy points. Last year he had 299. He wasn't that far off of his average. He was only about 2 points a game off.
Yeah, but once you get out of your elite quarterbacks, how much does 28 points jump you? 4 or 5 spots.
On a per game basis, it would take him up from 22nd to probably about 14th.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is where I have him,
So-
14th.
I think he's right in that streamer category with the potential to be a back end one, especially since you added Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, I got him
That's
right
what
around
he-
there too, around 14ish.
That's what he's always been.
So
Yeah, I mean,
back
I
end
wouldn't feel
one.
comfortable with him being my quarterback one. Absolutely not. I mean,
I'd
if
feel
worst comes to worst and I got to end up getting him, I'm definitely making sure I'm pairing him with a guy.
So
I feel
but
comfortable with picking him up if my quarterback gets hurt.
So he's going 9-11 right now in ADP, though.
That's a disaster.
It's falling backwards. I mean, he was 909 2 days ago. So
Did you just make a fallen joke with a 9/11 ADP? You terrible fudgy person.
All right. Enough 9-11 jokes, or we done?
Crashed and burned. Let's move on.
Perfect.
we Thomas read this.
So he's too high, I'm saying, though, at 9-11, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Let's go ahead and jump to the running backs then after we're done with Matt Ryan here. Devontae Freeman, who was 14th in points per game last year, coming in at 2.07 for ADP, 12th running back off the board. Do you guys think that's a fair price for him in this draft?
Yeah, I think that 12 is absolutely fair for him. The interior line got upgraded kind of. You got Andy Levitre, who missed 3 games last year that you hope is healthy. They signed Brandon Fusco, which is not a bad pickup from San Francisco. It's okay. It's not the worst thing that could happen. He was fantastic against base run at 4.7 yards per carry, 67 evaded tackles, 28.9% juke rate, both good for 11th. He's really dynamic.
It's just
Honestly, it's just can Sarkisian give him enough carries in the right situations?
there's been some concerns because since his breakout season, he's lost like 10 to 15, 20 targets the season since. He's losing touches in general, and I think the Falcons wanted to make him more of a RBBC back instead of just a full-time 3-down back. And you may see a little more Tevin Coleman because they may be afraid that they don't want to put more tread, or they don't want to wear.
I don't want to put more tread on the
They
tires.
don't want to wear so much more on him.
So yeah, he went from 340 touches to 270 touches to last year where he came in at 230. So he's been trending downward real fast. Do you think he trends back towards at least 270?
I tend to think
We
that.
hope so.
Yes, he had some injury problems last season too, which played into that. I've got him right at, well, I've got him at 259 touches, 250 targets, 220 rush attempts, so 270 attempts, but 39 receptions, so technically 259.
So yeah, it's just
Yeah, I
his
got
pass
him right
catching
around
up.
40 receptions.
His pass catching upside isn't there anymore like it used to be.
Yeah, he had
The
70
93 target season
and-
with 70
and-
receptions it's well far
The
gone.
thing that blows my mind, though, is he seems to be better in the open field than Tevin Coleman is.
exactly, he's extremely efficient. They just don't want to use him in that role for some reason. And he's built like he's what, like
Tevin-
5'9",
Yeah,
5'10"?
Tevin Coleman's a better between the tackles runner. It's like they've got their roles backwards.
Yeah.
I blame Sarkisian.
I blame Sarkisian, too. Sarkisian's a piece of shit.
All right.
Yes, I can get behind that.
All right, Brandon, where do you have Freeman at?
All right. I mean, I got Freeman locked in top 15. I mean, I like him better than guys like Drake, Howard, McCoy, Collins, Ajayi, around that area. I'm
All of
taking.
I think I agreed
him
with
over all them
everyone
guys.
on that list except McCoy.
McCoy. I got McCoy like right behind him. Right behind him. I don't know. McCoy scares me as being the only weapon in that offense. He's going to get all the eyes.
He was the only weapon in that offense last year,
He's
too,
like-
and he was fine.
He has like 6,000 limbs.
Yeah,
Yeah, they just keep slapping new knees on him.
Exactly.
he regenerates ACLs just in between series, so...
We just need to start
Yeah.
calling
So
him
I mean,
Wolverine.
yeah. I mean, I got him. I don't see him catching. I mean, I don't see him reaching 1,000 yards on the ground. Definitely not. But like you said, probably around 40 catches. I definitely say that. But I mean, running backs have been kind of like the only position unaffected by Sarkisian's terrible play calling, in my opinion. I think he was more worked for
He's
the
reached
passing game.
He's reached 1,000 yards the last 3 seasons. I got him close to last season. I got him at 1,012, so just over. So if you were
Yeah, I
just
got him
under
right
that, I
under.
wouldn't be surprised either.
He's a solid RB2.
Yeah,
Very solid
Yeah.
RB2.
he's
Yep.
a high RB2, back end
Yeah.
RB1.
He's got upside.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm taking him as my RB2 in 3 different spots now.
He's my
So-
13.
Very
so
underrated.
actually,
Kind of forgotten.
Nick's ball ready to freak out on us.
All right. Tevin Coleman.
So he's played 12, 13, and 15 games over his career, so I'm banking that he gets the 14-game mark this one just to complete that stretch.
He's working on the straight.
He's working on the straight.
He's working on the inside straight.
His evasion true rate and drop rate aren't good, though, but he's more solid as a pure runner. Like I said, I think their rules are backwards. They had a 10.8% drop rate. But he has had 3 receiving touchdowns the last 2 seasons, but I think he's a little miscast as a receiving back. I think he's better again on the goal line and better between the tackles. He's still going to play second fiddle, but I still think he's a good RB3.
He's got 19 touchdowns in the last 2 seasons. He gets a lot of big plays. He's just he gets underused too. It's just you really can't give a lot of carries to both of them.
Yeah, he's never
And it's
broken.
always good to have, just in case Freeman goes down, you got yourself a
He's
running back one.
Easy RB1.
For all them weeks that Freeman is down. So
Yeah,
he always
but,
carries that upside with him.
but for the weeks that Freeman's healthy, at best he's a RB3
Flex.
just because he's
Yeah.
190.
Yeah.
He's capped at 190 touches.
He's my 26, so I mean, like a 605 is a little bit much. Last year, I think he was more in the 7th, 8th range.
605 is the 30th RB off the board.
Yeah, 6 of.
I got him
It
at
just
32.
seems
I don't know,
higher.
6 is
Maybe
lower
just because it
with me.
seems high.
I mean,
I haven't
a lot
done
of
a lot
running
of
back,
mock drafts yet.
a lot of running backs are going early.
I got him
Makes
at
sense.
I've got him at 32. I've got him going at 84 touches.
Yeah, so I think he's going to be right around his career norms. He's my running back 30.
Yep. I'll see
Yeah,
what they are
30.
after I project everybody out. That was my gut feeling. Rank was 32.
All right.
Love him in Dynasty as well, though.
I do
So if
too
you're doing
because
Dynasty startup, got him. With that contract year, who knows?
it,
Be
well,
a featured back for someone next year.
that's also why I love Ito Smith too, because I think that Tevin Coleman
Oh,
is going
yes.
to be a future
Yep.
back someplace, and Ito Smith is going to jump up and take the backup
Mhm.
role. And speaking of which,
Yep.
if either of these two get hurt,
We'll be discussing Ito Smith on
We'll
the
be
waiver wire
dis-
episode.
we'll be talking Ito Smith. So-
Yeah, I do like Ito Smith. Yep.
All right. Moving on to Julio Jones, he's got a bit of a controversy. I've seen people still keeping him in their top 3 wide receivers, and I've seen people drop him down close to wide receiver 10 or 12.
Well, he's working out with Terrell Owens, so I have no concerns.
He's my 6.
Yeah, he's still up there.
I still got. I mean, like he still posts a bunch of yards. He's just a little boom busty. That's all. And I expect his touchdowns to go up from 3 probably to the 7-8 range where he's normally sitting at. Like he was horrible in the red zone last year. You gotta think. You gotta think that Sarkisian's gotta.
That's because Sarkisian's fucking drawing up plays for Sanu in the red zone instead of.
I never thought I'd have to say this on a show. We've bashed on Sarkisian enough. Let's move on.
The fuck is wrong with you?
No, we haven't.
Who's Nick?
But
who are you? What did you do with that?
Here's the other problem: his contested catch rate fell off of a freaking cliff between 2016 and 2017, which doesn't help in the red zone where everything's contested.
Well, and he's had 3 straight years now where his yards per game, his touchdown rate, and his catch rate have all dropped.
Yeah, he's definitely regressing, but he's still seeing 9.25 targets a game.
Yep, he's strictly been propped up by volume, and they just added Ridley, so I'm a little concerned.
Leading the league in yards per pass route, but yeah, I've got Ridley taking a little bit of volume away from him.
Yeah, he's consistently.
Where
been
do you guys have
top.
him ranked then? If you.
He's my 7.
Okay, so
I got
right around
him 6 behind AB, Nook, OBJ, Thomas, and Allen.
Okay,
so
he's still my 6. I still think he'll get enough targets to be.
I have those 5 plus Adams in front of him.
Same here.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have him just ahead of Adams.
Yeah.
He's right about there for me. My gut feel had him at 8, but then I projected him, and he's going to go up for me.
But yeah, he's going 202 right now in ADP. I will own 0 shares if he's going at that price.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way that I've liked my drafts falling out, I'm not going to own him there either because I'm taking a running back in the 2nd round.
Yeah, almost certainly. The only thing
he's definitely going to get more than his 3 touchdowns last year, but he ain't going to get. I don't see him getting more than 8. He's always struggling in the red zone, so touchdowns always a problem for him. Yards always easy to come by with him.
You just said 1 double-digit season,
and he's only had 3 seasons where he's been over 7.
I've got him at 5. Yeah. I've got him at 5, so it's not going to be a huge jump.
All right, well let's go to the 2 guys. 6, let's go to the guys battling for wide receiver 2, Sanu and Ridley. Which one do you prefer?
Sanu's safer to me. They used him in the red zone. He had a career high in targets per game last year. He was on pace for 102. Likely some regression with Ridley coming in. He had 8 10-plus point games, though, in PPR. He's kind of a solid receiver that is never going to blow up, but he probably won't disappoint you much either most of the time. And Ridley coming in as a rookie and sitting 3rd in that offense, I think that his progression is more slow, and he's like a year 3 breakout receiver that we're talking about. I don't see him overtaking Sanu this year. Next year, yes.
Yeah, they're going to eat at each other's value. So
I agree.
I'm not rushing to get either of them.
I just want to see where they're going to put Sanu and Ridley. Like, are they going to move Ridley, inside where you can work against, soft coverage, one-on-one situations, because we will always draw double coverage. Sanu's more comfortable in the offense. He's got the chemistry with Ryan. He gets used a lot on 3rd down, and just as Hopper said, he's good for the 4, 5, 6 receptions.
Well, and right now, Ridley's going in the 10th. Sanu's not being drafted.
I'm drafting Sanu in the last round of a lot of places just because, especially a lot of best ball leagues where it's like, okay, I need somebody that's safe after I go with a lot of boom bust. And Sanu's one of my favorite picks for a safe guy in the same vein that Marquise Lee is.
Yeah, I'm not taking Ridley over Sanu. Not yet.
Yeah, nah.
Because I don't think Ridley's going to take that job over at least until midseason, at the earliest midseason.
Yeah, I agree.
And then to wrap it up, the very unexciting Austin Hooper.
We're moving on from Austin Hooper.
It's so bad, though, because his peripherals are so good, but they don't use him.
And they just drafted Ridley, so where the fuck is he going to fall in the target
09
pool?
In target separation.
Right.
It's 2nd among tight ends. You got 15 vacated Levine Toilolo targets, which is... but he's got a very solid catch rate. He's good in yak. He's good in separation. They just don't use him.
How much of that yak was on that one play?
I don't know. I didn't look.
Probably all of it. I'll pull it up.
The broken play against the Bears where he ran for about 60 yards.
In week 1 where he was like, oh, hey.
He was the tight end 1 week 1, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was off of 1 play.
Yeah, 265 yards after the catch.
And I think
70 plus of that came on that one catch.
I got him at 71 targets with Toilolo not there, which I think is
So a slight uptick from
a
last year.
slight uptick because there's nobody else there.
You'd figure his touchdown rate would go up. He had 3 touchdowns on 65 targets. That's terrible
Yeah,
for a
9
tight end.
targets in the red zone. It's just
I got him going for 4 on 71 and 54 receptions.
So not much better. Okay.
Nope.
He could be a third-year breakout. He's definitely going to be a watch player for me, and I'm interested in maybe
he's
kicking
in
the
his third
tires.
year. He said
He's
Yeah,
he's
that's
always
like a breakout year for tight ends. It's, typically 3-4 years into into their career.
Yeah, he was the same draft class as Henry.
and he's 24.
He's another
got a
one
lot
that
of
falls
time.
into the I didn't get in on the first 8 tight ends, so let me take 2 flyers at the end of the draft.
Yeah, and he's currently not being drafted at all. So if you're looking at some of the guys who are free, like Watson, Hooper, there's some names here that you can be like, let's take them and we'll see what
Austin
happens.
Hooper and Nick Van
Nick Van
Because he's going to get his name said once in every episode from now on.
It's gonna have I'm gonna make that a thing.
All right. Enough on the Falcons?
Brandon, you got anything else?
I mean, basically just covered it all. I mean, I'm not. I got him right around top 20, but like I said, unless you're paranormal something, he ain't gonna give you nothing exciting. He needs a touchdown to be relevant, and I wouldn't feel comfortable with that.
All right.
All right. Let's review a beer.
Beer review.
So what'd you think of Sea Dog's blueberry pancakes, a.k.a. Wild Blueberry?
If you like blueberries and you like blueberry pancakes,
Hopper apparently
You'll love
needs,
this fucking
needs a
beer.
second one, so he's all over this.
like I said, it's extremely delicious. Obviously, there's a shit ton of blueberry taste to it.
It is the most intense blueberry flavor I've ever had in a beer before. I'm not a giant blueberry fan, so it's almost a little much for me. It's not a bad blueberry flavor, but it's just a real intense one. But it seems like it's more up your guys' alley.
Oh yeah, I love it.
It's very refreshing and crisp, but you do get a lot of blueberry on the front end. It's like biting into a blueberry muffin. This and Wild Blue, I think, are the 2 biggest blueberry beers that I've had. Like the most blueberry of blueberries. Well, and Triptychs. These aren't the blueberries you're looking for, Gosa, but this isn't a sour; it's an ale, so you don't get that tart bite. But it's got a great fruit flavor, and then it cuts off really crisp.
Yeah, it cuts off pretty good, and it's just blueberry aftertaste that just lingers. So
Which I'm fine
It
with.
tastes like a blueberry muffin almost to the T. So if you are a big fan of blueberry muffins, possible new breakfast choice for you.
I am a big fan of blueberry muffins, and I would drink this beer with blueberry muffins, a little bit of butter, 8 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Let's fucking go, cuzzo.
All right. Well,
While eating blueberry pancakes.
look forward to that week 1 of the NFL season when we do live streams on YouTube.
You know, blueberry pancakes? You want blueberry muffins for week 1? Because we can make blueberry muffins.
I will
for
take
week
off
1.
that Sunday, and I will make sure that shit works.
You should be taking off that Sunday anyway.
I am. That'll happen.
Mandatory.
All right. Well, speaking of the color blue, let's transition to the Carolina Panthers. You're going to do the drop, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
All right.
I don't think he hates him as much as he used to.
All right, so they've restructured
Maybe.
the offense a little bit here. They have a healthy Greg Olsen. They brought in DJ Moore. They brought in CJ Anderson to pair with Christian McCaffrey. But first off, we have to talk about Cam Newton. He was 6 in points per game last year. He's currently going as a 6th quarterback off the board at 706. Is that a fair price for him?
He needs my 6. There's a lot of 6s here.
Yeah, he's not going in the 4th round. I like him in the 7th, especially since he has a ton of rushing upside. And he's
Oh yeah,
gonna
I'd love to
keep-
get him into 7.
He's going to keep doing that. I've almost taken him in the 7th a couple times, and
He's
he's
always
always taken
top-
the pick before me.
He's always top 2, top 3 in all the rushing categories for quarterbacks. You just hope that he can be a little more consistent with his throwing, and with a healthy Greg Olsen as the safety net, I think you're going to see that.
Well, then with the throwing, though, he's never thrown the ball more than 517 times. He's never had a completion percentage over 62, which is not good. So,
You're relying on touchdowns and big plays.
8 games under 16 fantasy points. I love him in best ball. I don't want him as my redraft quarterback, though, and that's because unless you're playing in a points league, you can't take him with you. You can't take the blow-up weeks with you, and he's going to be meh and lose you almost as many weeks as he's going to win you.
Yep. He had 7 games below 18 points, 5 above 29.
Yep.
He's boom bust.
He's very boom bust, and to me, I don't want that in my head-to-head players because I'm trying to win as many games as possible. Now, if I'm playing best ball, if I'm playing in a league where it's based on points only, yeah, I love it, but I don't love it in head-to-head.
Well, with him going in the 7th, I still love it. He's my QB4. I'll take him there happily.
Yeah, I got him at 4.
He'll probably, I think he was at 5 for me before I projected him out, and we'll see where he ends up after that, but it's going to be in the 4 to 6 range.
All right. Anything else you want to add on Cam Newton? That seemed like that was relatively painless for a Cam Newton discussion.
Yeah,
It's always much the same with Cam Newton.
7th in danger plays, 11th in interceptable throws, 64% true completion, which is the worst among starters in the league, which takes out throwaway passes and whatnot. You'd normally expect a decent gap between your completion percent and your true completion percent, and his was only 2 percentage points. So it's nothing you don't know about Cam Newton, though. He sucks at throwing a football, and he's great at running with a football.
And he takes all the goal line carries.
Yes, he does.
Yep.
Yes, goal line whore.
All right. Speaking of goal line carries, let's move on to the running backs. Christian McCaffrey and C.J. Anderson.
That was a really bad transition because you went,
CMC has
speaking
0.
of goal line carries, and you went to Christian McCaffrey, who had none. And will continue to have none.
But he's a PPR monster, so
Yep.
he's
He was-
about as safe as you can get, as I put in quotes.
He was 15th in points per game last year. He's currently going 206 in ADP, 11th running back off the board.
All right, you ready for the YouTube hate I'm going to get for this?
Yep.
No one's duplicated a season of 110 plus targets as a running back. It was 19th in juke rate, which is pretty average for a shifty guy. 40th in yards created, 52nd in the per carry department. That's not great. It's for a guy that is supposed to be a playmaker. Under 4 yards a carry against all fronts, including light. No goal line carries. You added DJ Moore with Greg Olsen coming back, which is going to cut into his target attempts. And CJ Anderson's there to take the Jonathan Stewart role, who's
Plus-
also a proficient pass catcher. So,
like you can't have him as your RB1 because he doesn't have RB1 upside. He doesn't run the
he's
football.
got to be
efficiently
he's
enough.
got to be your RB2. And as an
Yeah,
RB2,
running back 2 only.
as an RB2, especially in PPR, I like him.
Yep.
So don't get it wrong. I don't hate Christian McCaffrey. I hate people that think Christian McCaffrey is more than what Christian McCaffrey is.
Yeah. 206 is definitely too high. I have him as a back end second, early third.
Plus, I want to see what he does with a year of Olsen involved, because that was all without Olsen last year. So I'd love to see how that.
I do too.
Factors in versus
I've got
receiving.
him at 210 touches, 121 rushes, 93 targets. So I didn't kill his target volume with DJ Moore and Greg Olsen coming in, but I did knock it back reasonably so because I don't know any offensive coordinator that says, I want to throw to my running back 110 times.
So to put a little bit positive spin on him too, from week 9 on, he did average 4.9 yards a carry. So he did trend upward as the year went on. A lot of his bad weeks were early in the season when he was still learning the offense and they were kind of struggling offensively in general. So I could see him continuing to improve in between the tackles to the point where he's at least a competent runner there and he's at least giving you some production there as opposed to being strictly a pass catcher.
I bumped him up to where he's going to pull around to 500 yards and 2 touchdowns on 150 carries, and that's reasonable since he doesn't get anything in the red zone or goal line as far as a running back. So
Yeah, I got him flirting with maybe 600 rushing, 600 receiving, right around there with that. I'd love him as rock solid running back too, especially in PPR, obviously.
All right. And then Anderson comes in. He's currently going 809 off the board, 40th
I
running
love
back.
that.
He was 28th in points per game last year in a very, very dysfunctional Broncos offense where they're constantly giving Devontae Booker the ball for some reason. Where do you guys have him ranked, and do you like the value? Hopper already mentioned you like the value at least.
Yeah. No, I
Underrated.
he is very underrated.
A better Jonathan Stewart. So
Jonathan, and mentioning Jonathan Stewart carried the ball 190 times last year. CJ Anderson was 8th in evaded tackles, 13th in juke rate, 18th in yards created, which is an improvement over Jonathan Stewart.
Yep.
And Stewart had 12 goal line carries and 7 total touchdowns compared to Christian McCaffrey's 0 goal line carries, or 7 rushing touchdowns. So, CJ Anderson's a lock for at least that. I've got him carrying the ball, we'll call it 183 times, 750 yards, 7 touchdowns. Also pulling 39 targets because I think he gets targeted more than Jonathan Stewart does.
Oh, he's a much better pass catcher.
He's a better pass
Yep.
catcher.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I have him projected for 215 touches.
I've got him at, let's see, what's 183 plus 39?
Well, I said touches, not
No, so am I.
touches would be catches, not targets.
Sorry. 183 plus 26 then, so I've got him at 209.
So yeah, we're 6 off of each other. So CJ Anderson's definitely a value. I've currently got him as my 36 in my initial rankings, but I think he'll slide closer to 30.
By the way, sidebar rant, I never understood why you calculate catches is touches instead of targets, because targets mean they're trying to get them the ball and not just the amount of times they caught the ball. So that seems to matter more to me than actual touches.
I think targets is definitely a useful metric to look at, but touches is strictly looking at just how effective was the team at actually getting the ball in their hands and how often was it happening.
I care how much they try to get the ball in their hands.
Is there any concern? I'm going to move off this. Is there any concern with them losing their all-pro guard, Andrew Newell?
Oh yeah, I think. Well,
I think
of course
that'll affect them on as these inside runners too.
Now I think it'll be balanced out a little bit by their receiving weapon just being so much better that it should help the fronts a little bit. But yeah, it definitely affects the team.
No, it does, and that's why I didn't give anybody a major efficiency bump, because I feel like losing Norwell, it hurts, but then you, like Nick mentioned, you bring Olsen back, you add DJ Moore, it helps the receiving core. They can't key on the run as much, so I feel like that makes it better. Yeah,
it should be. It's probably a slight ding when you balance it all out, but it should be pretty much close to what it was last year. Plus, Anderson, I think, is such a more dynamic runner than Stewart is at this point in their careers.
Well, he's not 90, so yeah.
That helps.
Yeah.
He's 5 years younger than him, so
Yeah, he is.
All right. Devin Funchess and DJ Moore, who are you preferring as the one to get the more volume?
DJ Moore. Devin Funchess should not be a 1. I've actually got them really close to each other. I think it's going to be pretty split, but Devin Funchess should absolutely not be the 1 there. He had 6.9 targets a game last season with almost no one else. He was 35th in YAC, 37th in yards per pass route, 58th in separation, 21st in contested catch rate. The efficiency numbers just aren't there to support Devin Funchess being the most targeted wide receiver. So I've got it pretty even between him and DJ Moore and Greg Olsen. I don't have anybody necessarily running away with it. I've got a slight edge to Moore and then Funchess and then Olsen as far as targets go. But I think DJ Moore is a better wide receiver already.
So I actually...
Oh, yeah, I agree already right now, yeah. But I think in the beginning, it's still definitely going to be Funchess until Moore gets his feet wet. But,
yeah,
I mean, Moore's got great upside. I mean, he's my Dynasty 1, as he should be.
Yeah. For Dynasty, he's absolutely my 1. That's not even... He's not even the same tier as anybody else for receivers.
Yeah.
But for me, actually, I have Olsen as the 1 for targets, because historically he's gotten 110 plus targets if he's been healthy. I think he takes Funchess' targets. Funchess drops down into the 90-100 range, and Moore is probably in the 80-90 range.
So I've got DJ Moore at 98. I've got... Let's see what I got Greg Olsen at. I gotta wait for my computer to fucking...
Well, Dan, give your thoughts. All
right, so here are the ADPs. You have 709 for Funchess, and you have 912 for DJ Moore. I like Funchess.
Almost a round since I prepped.
I like Funchess. What is he now?
No, I had him at 10:08 when I prepped. He jumped almost a round.
I like Devin Funchess just for his value, because I think he will see enough targets. I think DJ Moore is gonna he'll have to get his feet. He'll have to at least get to that point. I think Greg Olsen is gonna take more than enough away from both of them. But he's also 33 years old, and he's coming off of a foot. He's coming off of 2 foot injuries or 1 foot injury that he's had issues with for last year. So who knows where that would be? When it comes to that. It's just I like Funchess as a flex play, for next year, not as a wide receiver 1 or I trusted to.
I've got him as a low 3.
I do too.
He's my 25, so he's my.
That's a high 3.
That's a high 3.
I've got Funchess at 86 targets, Moore at 98, Olsen at 103.
Okay,
so we're all chalk on that.
So it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, being receivers on Carolina, never good for fantasy. I mean, ever since they've had Newton, it's finished outside the top 20 pass attempts every season with Newton. So
I mean,
it's not like
you're looking for touchdowns. That's how these Carolina receivers have made their hay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the only way.
All right, Greg Olsen, where does he fall in your tight end rankings?
My 5.
He's
top 5 easy.
Top 5, and he's being extremely undervalued.
601 right now.
Yes, sir.
I have him as my 4. He is currently going as the 5th tight end off the board, but it's a pretty decent gap between the top 4 and him.
Yep. And it will be, but he's a lock to see over 100 targets, I think, and he's brinking on retirement, so you don't want to play on that in Dynasty, but in redraft, you better get one last hurrah off the guy.
I mean, if I was looking for a one more
He's
run...
a great buy if you're a championship team looking for a tight end who may have just lost Hunter Henry.
Oh, absolutely.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
I don't have a I don't have a Greg Olsen.
I know you don't, buddy.
But I've got a
You got a Jimmy Graham that you probably should keep.
I got a Jimmy Graham that I'm probably holding on to.
All right. Anything else we want to add on the Panthers that we didn't cover?
Nah.
All right.
Nah, not really.
Jumping over to the Buccaneers, since this is your team, Brandon, any just general thoughts on the state of the Buccaneers?
Well, I mean, with the Jameis news, I mean that them first 3 games, it was already going to be an 0-3 start. So honestly, doesn't even affect me for real life. With that, there were already going to be 3 losses. But I mean, like I said in the beginning, Jameis, I still like him, especially. I mean, I'm a big deep league guy, 14, 16 team. So I mean, he's definitely going to get drafted. I'd be pretty happy to get him as a quarterback too for when he comes back. He has that potential. The backfield, I mean, we're going to all touch on it individually, but the backfield with Rojo, I wish we got Juice instead of Rojo, but I'll take it.
Same here.
Yeah, so. And then, I mean, I guess we'll just hit it off right from them.
So you prefer Geis over
Go
Rojo?
one by one. Oh, yeah, Geis over Rojo. I definitely want a Geis over Rojo.
All right.
Easy.
Well, when I prepped this, I did not think we were going to be talking about Ryan Fitzpatrick. How naive of me.
That's if he even gets the job.
Or Ryan Griffin.
Ryan Griffin, sleeper.
Ryan Griffin.
Well,
I'm not picking up either of them because
No.
they're going to lose their first 3 to 4 games. Dirk Cutter is going to get
Exactly.
fired. Jameis is going to come back, and then it's
Garbage
go
time.
No.
Yeah, no, I'm
Garbage
staying
picks,
away
not
from
even.
Griffin and Fitzpatrick easy.
All right.
Garbage picks.
So Winston was 13th in points per game last year. He coming into this before the suspension, he was my quarterback 10. He'll probably drop down close to quarterback 16 or 17 now for me.
Yeah, around 15.
I bumped him down pretty heavily. I'm moving from a QB 7 to 22. That's mainly because you're not going to draft him unless you're in a bigger league.
You can't draft him. I mean,
Yeah.
you can pick somebody up as a dart throw and ride the first couple weeks. And
Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles, yes, I'm wearing the jersey. You can ride Bortles the first couple weeks, pick Jameis up in week 2, stash him on your bench, and then start him after the suspension. I say week 2 because you don't want to be fighting for him in week 3.
Yeah.
But he was a quarterback 1 after he came back from injury last season. He had the highest completion and the lowest interception rate of his career, highest yard per games and QB rating of his career. He's progressing the way we had hoped Mariota would and getting better every season.
Yeah.
So,
Plus, I mean, he's always a little magician in red zone. He can always scramble for
Yep.
a few touchdowns. So,
yep, he's still a gunslinger. Don't get me wrong, top 5 in all deep
Absolutely.
ball categories, but he's also second in danger plays and second in interceptable passes because he's still gonna.
And that's with missing time.
Yeah, he's still
That's just
gonna
pretty
say screw it
impressive.
and throw it downfield. But when he comes back, he's going to be a top 10 quarterback, and there's no doubt in my mind that that's going to be a thing. So if you're taking a quarterback
Agreed.
late, you play the schedules early, you take a Blake Bortles, and then you grab Jameis Winston and you start him after that because he's going to be a top 10 guy.
yeah, I mean, I still got him at 3,500 yards, 25 total touchdowns, even with them 3.
I've got him
Game,
at
so.
somebody else talk while I find it.
He was going to be my breakout player this year. It's kind of hard to do that when there's 3 games missing.
I mean, he's still.
But I think he's going to be fantastic.
We care about
on
points
the
per
stretch.
game.
Yeah.
If
I
he,
know.
if he comes back after the suspension and is on fire,
This offense,
no one will remember that he missed.
this
3
might be a
games.
top 5
Yep.
offense when Winston comes back. I'm not a huge Rojo fan, but I love him in the system, and I love what they have for the receiving core. And plus, they have
All
2
right.
great tight ends.
Quick
got-
thoughts, and then we're going to transition.
3,800 yards, 21 touchdowns, 13 picks. Another 179 on the ground
All right.
with missing 3 games.
Ronald Jones, Peyton
Yep.
Barber, and the rest of the running back core. Where do you have these guys sitting?
Rojo 1, easy.
Ronald Jones is the one to own.
Yeah.
So
Peyton Barber, good late round steal. I mean, he's still going to get his carries. He's a coach's guy. Cutter loves him.
1307.
Charles Sims sucks, so I'm staying away from him and everything.
yeah, it's going to be split for me. I'm Ronald Jones first. Doug Martin was seeing about 15 touches a game. I think Jones sees about that in the 15 to 17 range, but he's more efficient. Peyton Barber though is a great late round steal. I think that he still is going to
Yep.
get some running work, especially down against the goal line. I think Jones is going to miss a couple games given his injury history and given his body type. My real favorite pickup for this running game was Alex Kappa. And the way that he mauls people and throws people around, I think it's
No,
good
I
for
love
both
him.
of these running backs.
He's a tough bastard.
I love that guy.
He's going to 503. He's my RB
That's if he
30.
wins the job, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jones
that
is-
feels a little rich to me.
Jones is going to 503, but he's shown up twice on ADP calculator, so it's either 503 or like 905. So I think he should be somewhere in between. He's my RB30. He's not a pass catching back yet. Like, I don't like people who keep saying that he is. He had 32 total receptions in college and no more than 15 in any year.
He could be.
He could be. That's based on his frame. We don't know.
I've got him at 35 for this year. Yeah, okay. I do. I got him getting, 240-ish touches.
Yeah.
So
240 touches?
For Ronald Jones, yeah.
That'd be pretty good.
That'd be great.
Yeah, no, that's because I think that he progressively takes work away from
Barber, Sims,
from Peyton Barber.
Rodgers.
I've still got Peyton Barber going for 145.
Okay,
so I just think that Ronald Jones is gonna. I got Charles Sims at almost nothing. That's this is that Charles Sims is a piece of shit and he's not going anywhere.
They love Sims for some reason, and they've already have said that they want him to be the pass catching back, which I don't see that happening, because I think Dirk Cutter's going to be coaching for his job early on, and they're going to have to use their top picks.
I think Ryan Fitzpatrick's going to cost him his job.
Or Ryan Griffin, whoever wants to cost him his job, which would be a good thing. So thanks.
Fitzmagic is going to make Dirk Cutter disappear for his next trick.
All right. Well, moving on to the pass catchers who will be catching balls from either Griffin or Fitzpatrick here. What do we think of Mike Evans?
He's on this weird every other year plan that Doug Martin was also on. If you look at his touchdowns, he went 12-3, 12-5, so he's probably locked for 12 this year. I've got him at 9. Catch rate's also kind of on an every other year plan, 55-7, 50, 55-5, 52-2, so I've got it around 55% on that round. Also, he's played 15 games 3 times, so he's probably going to miss a game.
Either due to injury or suspension.
Yep. 9 drops, but his fall off last year is mostly red zone efficiency and mostly in touchdowns.
And not having Winston.
Everything else was probably fine. So
his touchdown rate last year was 3.6%. His career average is 5.5.
He is, to me, in that second tier of wide receivers with Michael Thomas and Keenan Allen.
211's ADP. I like that value because he's a target monster that has the trust of Winston, who loves the air.
Yeah, that's huge value.
He's 6'5", 230.
Yeah, he's
98th percentile arm length. So the guy's a fucking beast.
He's not super efficient, but he gets targeted.
Yeah,
and that's what you need is targeted in touchdowns, and he gets targeted in the red zone.
Yep.
He's my 9.
All he has to do is improve that yak, and he'll reach a new level.
But he's the last of the he's my last of the elite receivers.
He's my 8. Yeah, I have him above, I think, Green. That's because of my love for Winston.
Especially with the suspension, I'd still rather take Green.
I'm not as concerned.
He wasn't terrible during the suspension, though. He was averaging about 65 yards per game.
Yeah, I think he actually averaged more points with Fitzpatrick last year than with Winston, right? I believe.
Yeah, it's because Fitzpatrick didn't believe in Cameron Brate, which I'm still bitter about.
We'll get to him in a minute. All right. Between Deshaun Jackson and Chris Godwin, who do you prefer as your dart?
Chris Godwin all day.
Not even being
Godwin
fucking drafted right now.
I love him.
He's earned the right to start, quote unquote. But
his
utilization
Jackson is done next year, so they're just going to groom him up. Give him all the opportunity.
The last 4 games of the season, he went from running 10.5 pass routes a game to 28.2. When he ran more than 15 routes last year, 4.2 receptions, 72.6 yards, 1 and a touchdown per game on average. 9th in yards per target, 8th in yards per pass route, solid contested catch rate. The comp that I did when I projected him out was Vincent Jackson, which is when Dirk Cutter was offensive coordinator, who had 6.1 targets per game. So I've got Godwin getting 90 plus this year, and Jackson being relegated, a 45 to 50 target deep threat.
Yeah, they're going to slowly phase D-Jack out.
They started to last year already.
It starts this year. It's going to be all Chris Godwin. I think he may have a slow start without Winston because they may just favor Evans. Just never thrown him the football.
And those games when Godwin saw his utilization up and was running more pass routes, Deshaun Jackson saw on average about a target less per game.
It's all Godwin.
So it's Godwin is the number 2 for me.
So he took.
Plus, D-Jax will get some kind of soft tissue injury at some point, so I'll just open the door even more.
Oh yeah, he's a lock to miss 3 games.
It's given.
Yeah, Godwin was over 10 fantasy points in 3 of the last 4 games in PPR. So
he's a beast.
Yeah. I mean, I'll still take D-Jack maybe as my low end receiver 4. I mean, you can get him there. He's dropping that much, so I mean,
he's still being drafted.
Pretty decent value.
14th round. Still being drafted for some reason.
Best ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I don't hate him in best ball. You're right there.
I mean, FF Calc isn't best ball though.
We know.
I know, but I'm just saying. I'm saying that's where I would take Deshaun Jackson as best ball and nowhere else.
And then, who do you guys prefer between Howard and Brait?
Nobody, because
Howard.
no, it's Brait for me, but barely.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah.
No other way.
The last after Winston's return, I broke it down: 3.75 targets a game for Brait, 3.25 for Howard. Brait was running 19 routes per game over the last 4. Howard 8.6. Howard had 8% target share, 12.5% touchdown in total. Brait was at 12.9 and 14.3. It's gonna be relatively split. I've got a slight edge to Cameron Brait, but mostly I don't want either of them because it's gonna be shared almost in the truth. It's almost gonna be shared 50-50.
Yeah, I got them basically almost right next to each other. Both right around 500 yards, 5 touchdowns.
That's exactly what I have them at. I've got Brait I've got them both at 5 touchdowns. I think yardage-wise, I have Brait edging Howard by about 40 yards because Howard tends to be more efficient with his targets.
He was one of the best.
Brait will definitely have more receptions. Howard's more the big play guy. He'll get the big play, but Brait, he's definitely going to get the edge in PPR.
That's exactly it. Now, if either of them get hurt, I'm all over the other one.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I actually lean Howard just because if there's going to be a breakout where one takes a massive step, I'm putting my money on Howard taking over the game.
They paid Brait, so
kinda
gave him that big extension for a reason. So
we'll see. I still think it's going to be split just based on last year.
Oh yeah,
I don't have either one in my top 12, obviously, but if I'm picking one, it's going to be Howard.
Yeah, I'm on Brait, but that shouldn't surprise you guys.
No, it doesn't. All right. That is it for the NFC South here. Once again, we went through order here. We went Saints, Falcons, Panthers, and Buccaneers. If you're listening to the end of the Buccaneers one here and want to go back and listen to the previous episodes, please check that out on YouTube, Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. You can also like us on Facebook, Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. Like and subscribe to either one of those. Email beerfueledfantasy@gmail.com to get an entry into the Listener League. You can also leave a review on iTunes, screenshot that, and email that in. All 3 will get you an entry here. We're going to do the drawing here when we record our next set of episodes here, post-division breakdowns. Individually, I am at Nick Sparts. Dan Thury's across the table from me.
Yeah, Thury BFF.
Chris Hopper to my left.
At Hot BFF with 2 Ps. We're going to have coming up soon an announcement for the Redraft League, not the Dynasty League.
Ooh, exciting.
Look for that in July.
Look for that in July, so not next week, but the week after. Most likely on those episodes.
Right around the time we go to NFFC.
Yep. We've got merch, so hats, shirts. Thury has a hat on. Dan, can you look towards the wall, please? So he's got the hat on. None of us are wearing the shirts today, but hit us up for those. And as always, YouTube, Untapped, Instagram, Beerfield FF, pretty much everywhere.
Yep. And then Double H Fantasy 1, Brandon Hamer is on the line. Give us one last shout out, man.
Yep, nice guys. Thanks for having me. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed talking some football. Appreciate it.
He's kind of new in the industry here. Go ahead and give him a follow on Twitter as well. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We'll catch you next time on Beer Fueled Fantasy Football.
See ya.
Peace.